It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood, a beautiful day for a neighbor. Would you be mine? Could you be mine? Won't you be my neighbor? Chick, chick, boom, boom. It's a Leo Be the Lion show. Boom, boom. Gonna tell you what you need to know. Boom, boom. Now here comes your boy Leo. Hey everybody, it's your boy Leo Be the Lion coming to you live here on March 27th at Respectable Street on beautiful Clematis in beautiful downtown West Palm Beach, Florida. I record here live from 6 to 7 every Monday, and you can listen to me live at www.subcultureradio.com. That's subcultureradio.com. Click on the Listen Live link. If you can't catch me live, I post my videos and my recordings to my YouTube channel and my IG at Leo B the Lion Show. That's at Leo B the Lion Show on YouTube and IG if you want to give me a subscribe or follow. But this is the Leo B the Lion Show where we talk about South Florida business and sports. And I got a lot to talk about today about South Florida sports, South Florida sports figures, and even business goings on around West Palm Beach and the greater Palm Beach County. So let's talk about first what I did over the weekend. I'm going to do a little recap, and it was a busy weekend for Leo Be the Lion. I was able to take my son various places, and I was able to go to a great event this past Thursday evening. Some say Thursday evening here in West Palm Beach is the unofficial start of the weekend, so I just made it my start to the weekend. So first, on Thursday evening, it was a special event opening at the convention center, the West Palm Beach Convention Center. It was the Palm Beach Art Show and Art Convention, and it was a great event on Thursday night. And I was able to meet some new friends. I was invited by my girlfriend. She was able to get tickets, and those tickets actually doubled for the Palm Beach International Boat Show. So it was kind of a cool double whammy that we got. So went to the art show, and what I can say is I'm super impressed. Art and any type of art, visual, audio, any type of art. And there's it's a broad thing. You could call anything, almost anything art. But I'm just really impressed by the artists and the work that I saw there. I just have a great appreciation for people that can take ordinary things like a cardboard box or even a microphone or even a bone. They had a bone that was shaped there, and I thought it was, this might be NSFW, but there was a bone, and on the bottom of the bone were two breasts, and on the top of the bone was lips. And so it made you think okay, it's a bone that was thinking like a phallus, like a penis, but then, but then it had breasts and then it had lips on top. So it was kind of wow, that's a really interesting art piece, and it made you think. And they had art from Botero. It was international artists that were there, and all different types of art. Like I said, some G-rated all the way to X-rated, but that's art. Sometimes it's in the eye of the beholder and how you interpret things. And I was even impressed by something as simple as some squares on the paper, but the way that they had those squares, you kind of the longer you looked, the more you saw. And there was another one where it kind of reminded me of Alice in Wonderland, and the more you looked at the picture, the more you realized that, yeah, you might be looking at a mountain full of grass, but in reality, you get a little closer, you look a little longer, and you're actually looking at a grasshopper's back that somehow was intertwined with grass and everything. So it's cool to be around so much art. I think I gotta test that part of my personality, test that part of Leo Be the Lion, because I would love to see, and try more stuff and try little hobbies, because, anytime you can pick up a hobby, it's fun. And, I got major shout out to all those artists out there, musicians, what y'all do with just making sounds and, make it sound good. That's tough, man. More power to you. That's really tough. And I'm bowing down. I'm not worthy. You artists are great to and I really appreciate it. So I went to the Palm Beach Art Show on Thursday night and had a great time. Then Saturday was kind of like that chill day to Friday, work, normal work. But Saturday was that kind of day to chill or recover, get caught up. And then on Sunday, we were able to go to the Palm Beach International Boat Show. And it was great weather for the event, although it was up to like getting up to 90, but there was some shady spots and it was fun to be there. But let me just say that the parking situation, yeah, if you didn't have to pay for parking, consider yourself lucky because or if you know the little nooks and crannies around Clematis, around downtown West Palm Beach, where to get the deal on parking, more power to you because and I'm lucky that I was able to basically take a ride share to the boat show, and so I didn't have to pay that much money for parking. And so the drinks were flowing at the boat shows also, since I didn't have to drive. But the parking situation, I saw $40 for most parking garages, and then when we were in the ride share, the driver said that some places were jacking it up and like gouging to over $100 near Elisabetta's, but that's what the driver was saying. The driver wants to encourage more people to do rideshare anyway, but also the parking is packed and it's $40 minimum. So, and I kind of intend to believe it because West Palm Beach is kind of like trying to get like Miami in that regard, where I've seen for a Miami Heat game parking be $75, $80 for a Miami Heat game, or probably even for concerts down there as well. So when I see $40, where in the past it'd be like $10 event parking all day, or $5 event parking all day, and I guess it's for the boat show. The boat show brings the money and brings the affluent crowd there, but $40 is a lot, a lot. And what we talked about in the rideshare is that, oh wow, do the servers that have to work at Hullabaloo and work on Clematis, or like say if you're a server at Duffy's, or a bus person at Duffy's, or you work in the service industry on Clematis, did you have to pay $40 for parking? Or if you belong to the parking garage, do you have to pay that monthly rate? Or we were just curious because if they would have had to if they made servers pay $40 for parking to go to their job, that would be kind of messed up in my opinion. But it was an overall great time at the boat show. The boats were enormous. We got on one and it had a downstairs, a upstairs, and a 3-story. It was like a 3-4 story boat, so that's pretty cool. And then we saw a helicopter, and I was able to take a picture with the helicopter with my son, so that was pretty neat. And we asked them how much, we overheard them some people talking about how much the helicopter was, and just to give you guys a little insight, it wasn't anywhere near my alley, boy. It was like, they said it was about $15 million for the helicopter, and that's like the base price. And then if you need a pilot, it's about $250 an hour, and then plus gas and everything like that. So, yeah, I was just like, oh, that's good to know. And I just kept on walking, but that's just interesting little tidbit. That helicopter was pretty cool because it was all like leather. It just made me be like, dang, that's pretty nice. And then as I was getting ready for the weekend, I've been hearing more about AI stuff, and I just wanted to touch on that too because I am not a proponent of AI. I just think, and to touch on the art piece, I think it's a potential for a lot of art to get stolen, or a lot of art to be infringed upon, or people's intellectual property to be infringed upon with AI. Because, yeah, they say, okay, you can prompt it and combine famous artworks or combine different things. It's all based on the prompt. Speaking about like chat GPT, it's all based on the prompt that you give it. So the more information you give it, if you connect it to the internet, it has more information. But it doesn't look very aesthetically pleasing in my eyes when I've seen some of the AI images. It almost has like a macabre tone to it, and that's just my one man's opinion. So, and if you disagree with me, if you think AI is the bee's knees, then comment at Leo Be the Lion Show on IG and YouTube. But me personally, I think AI, it's always nice to have a tool, but when you're gonna become reliant on that tool, just like you don't kind of like have to know anything if you are just going to ask something and find out the answer and then just regurgitate the answer. You don't really have that. You don't really gain any knowledge out of that. And it's similar to Google, but now this is like Google on steroids. And so I think it's just going to make people lazier and more reliant on these tools, so that you might just be like silly questions, like you'll say, "Oh man, what's the weather today?" And yeah, you might want to know the weather, but like, why don't you just go outside and check? Let me peek. Is it cold out? Do I feel cold, hot? And then maybe you can find out the weather. But that's probably a bad example. But anyway, and then also in my opinion, AI, the only thing AI would really be good for is for like sinister purposes, like to hack people's crypto wallets or to fraud some people somehow. But see, that's just, and I'm not, I'm trying to keep my hands clean. But what I'm saying is, imagine if it's in people's hands that maybe are thinking about this 24/7, like how to do a come up off of AI technology. Shoot, you can fraud a lot of people. You could say Joe Biden said launch a nuke, and people might not know. People might believe it. And so I'm just saying it could get worse with AI. I've seen too many movies, iRobot, Terminator series, so shoot, even RoboCop, man. When they hacked Ed 209 and Ed 209 was over there yomping people, the whole boardroom, shoot, that's what happens when it gets into the wrong hands. And I just want to touch on one more thing about AI and maybe the internet. I thought it was cool. I saw this the other day, and we'll get into sports right now. I got the Final Four. FAU and Miami are in the Final Four coming up. But it's pretty cool that there's this theory called the dead internet theory, where at this point it's basically saying, like, basically the majority of what you see and hear and look at on the internet was generated by bots. And basically everything else is not, doesn't have any human behind it. So it's just rolling and just going, and it's a perpetual machine of in and of itself. And so it's a trip to think about, because you see it on the socials where you'll go to comment on somebody's comment and it's like 15 bots. And then you'll even have like, innocuous comments like, "Oh, great tips." But that comment could be from a bot. So you kind of like don't know unless you really know the person in real life. And that's a dead internet theory, that a lot of the internet that we see today, a lot of the websites, everything was generated by bots, not by humans. Well, besides that, let's get into sports now. Let's get into the World Baseball Classic update. It finished last week, and the semifinals and finals were played in Lone Depot Park in the home of the Miami Marlins. And may I just say, I know the World Baseball Classic is every 4 years, but I really think that, and I believe that the finals and the quarterfinals, semifinals, and finals should be played at Lone Depot Park. I really think it is, out of the United States, if they're going to bring the World Baseball Classic here, what better city to bring all these diverse countries to than Miami? Every team loved being down in Miami. It was a great turnout. It was selling. Miami International Airport is an international hub for people to come from all around the world, and especially when the majority of the teams are from the Caribbean, from South America, and from North America. Having Miami as that spot where you can have the semifinals and finals, I think is a great marketing idea and a great sell by the city of Miami, also one, and also two by the World Baseball Classic organization and MLB. If they can keep it in Miami every 4 years for the championship, yeah, they can have the preliminary games where, around the world where they had it in the past. But I really think that the playoffs for the World Baseball Classic should be played in Miami as the home spot. Now, Japan beat USA 3-2 to win its third overall WBC Classic or WBC title. They won in 2006, 2009, and 2023. It's, just now. And Shohei Ohtani, baseball is poetic in this way. And Shohei Ohtani struck out Mike Trout to win the game. And it's poetic in that 3 years ago during the pandemic, they asked Mike Trout, who is a perennial MVP candidate, probably the best player in baseball, but since he plays for the Angels, not really baseball hasn't done a good job of marketing Mike Trout. Let's just say that. But they asked Mike Trout 3 years ago during the pandemic when they had to cancel the WBC, who would you want to face? Who would you want to go up against as the pitcher and you would want to be the batter against? And he said Shohei Ohtani. And at the time, he kind of said it in jest, but he was serious because, of course, the best hitter would want to go up against the best pitcher to see how he can do. But they're on the same team, and they're still on the same team in the Anaheim Angels. And so for Shohei Ohtani to be on Team Japan and Mike Trout to be on Team USA, and in the top of the ninth, when USA was down 3-2, Mike Trout comes to base, and he has the opportunity to tie the game for the USA, but Shohei Ohtani strikes him out. And just for kicks, Mike Trout has only struck out swinging 24 times last season, and he did it once in the World Baseball Classic, and that was against Shohei Ohtani to lose the game. Now, after the World Baseball Classic update where USA fell short to the Team Japan 3-2, we're going to talk about the NCAA update. The Final Four, ladies and gentlemen, is set. I said it last week that this week when I come back on the radio, it is going to be the Final Four will be set. We'll find out. And before this weekend, we were in the Sweet 16, so I was thinking to myself, well, Miami's a dark horse, but I had no inkling that FAU would win Sweet 16. Then they went up against the Elite Eight, and they got to the Final Four. So your Final Four teams are from the South region, San Diego State University. Then in the East region, FAU, Florida Atlantic University Owls. Go Owls. Shout out to the representing Boca Raton, their second ever NCAA tournament berth and their first ever Final Four. They've never gotten this far, so it's the farthest they've gone in team history. They ended the season, well, I'll get to that in a second, but in the Midwest division, the representative is Miami. They've looked impressive against strong teams in that division. And that's another Florida team. And then UConn to round out in the West. UConn will be representing the West region. What I'm impressed about right here is that in the NCAA tournament, this will be the second time, or this will be the third time overall that teams from the same state could be playing in the national championship. So let me rephrase that. If FAU beats San Diego State and Miami, University of Miami of Florida, beats UConn, then University of Miami will play FAU in the championship, in the national championship game. And why that would be significant? One, because that would be so cool to have South Florida basically own the national championship for this year and be totally represented. And two, because this would be the third time in the national championship game that teams from the same state have played off against each other. The first two times were in 1961 and 1962 when Cincinnati played Ohio State for the national championship in back-to-back years. Well, the distance between Cincinnati and Columbus, Ohio is 101 miles. Or 102 miles. Excuse me if I get, I'm off by a couple miles, give or take. Basically 100 miles. But if FAU and Miami play for the national championship, you will have Florida Atlantic, which is based in Boca Raton, 2.5 miles from the beach, ladies and gentlemen. And you will have the team from Coral Gables, the team from Miami, University of Miami Hurricanes. They'll bring Sebastian and all. Sebastian will be there. Allie will be there if they get there. But those teams are only separated by 60 miles. So this will be the closest game. And, yes, I know you're thinking, wait, UNC and Duke have never played each other in the national championship? No, they've never. It's been Duke versus Kentucky, UNC versus their players, but no, it's never been UNC Duke. So to have University of Miami and FAU play each other in national championship, it will be the closest that two teams have ever been located that play in that meet in the national championship. And I thought that was significant, and it would be a big boon to South Florida recruiting. Getting to the Final Four alone is great for both programs, for FAU and Miami, but if they both got to the national championship and they were able to face off each other, and if it was a good game, you're going to get recruits out the wazoo. Like, people are probably going to hit the transfer portal just to come through and play for Miami and play for FAU. FAU's coached by Dusty May, and Miami's coached by Jim Larinaga. Jim Larinaga, if you recognize that name, he coached George Mason to a Final Four appearance before coming to Miami. And let's take a look at each team's path to the Final Four. Let's start with San Diego State. And what I thought was interesting is, another interesting tidbit is that we got 2 5 seeds in San Diego State and Miami, and then a 9 seed at FAU and a 4 seed in UConn. And what's really interesting about this is that you don't have any blue bloods. UConn really isn't considered a blue blood, even though they've won 4 national championships. They just had a really good era with Jim Calhoun in them, and the likes of Ray Allen and Kevin Ollie and Karan Butler, and I'm sure I'm missing Emeka Okafor, all those guys. I'm sure I'm missing a few guys. I think Charlie Villanueva also played for UConn. That's a blast from the past name. So let's take a look at San Diego State's path to the Final Four. At first, they played the College of Charleston, and they were able to take care of business as the 5 versus 12 matchup. They won 63-57. Then San Diego State, as the 5 seed, went on to the round of 32 to play Furman, who had upset Virginia, and San Diego State took care of business as they should have, 75-52. Then it was the vaunted Alabama Crimson Tide versus the overall number 1 seed Alabama Crimson Tide versus San Diego State Aztecs, and San Diego State was able to pull the upset 71-64. And that 7-point victory is kind of misleading because San Diego State was at the foul line the last minute when Alabama was trying to get them to miss foul shots and trying to get back in the game. Then San Diego State in the Elite 8 played against Creighton, and this was a controversial call. It was 56-all with time running down, and the San Diego State player had gotten by the Creighton defender, and the Creighton defender put his hand on the back of the San Diego State defender, and the referee called a 1-and-1 situation, free throws. San Diego State made the first free throw, missed the second one, and they won the game 57-56 to go to the Final Four, and they will take on FAU in the Final Four. Now let's take a look at how FAU, the FAU Owls, Palm Beach County's hometown Owls, how did they get to the Final Four? They basically didn't have it easy to get to the Final Four. Let me just put it that way. But they looked impressive throughout. The first game that FAU played was as the 9 seed. They played, and let me just say how it was a travesty, and they underrated FAU. But I guess it was good that they were a 9 seed to kind of give them more gumption and stuff and more onus to play, because they ended the regular season at 31-3. So how do you be 31-3 and only be a 9 seed? To win over 30 games in college basketball is really good. Like, you're elite at that point. But anyway, I digress. We had the Memphis Tigers playing against FAU as the 8-9 matchup, and FAU, with time running down, was able to make a left-handed layup to win the game 66-65. FAU moved on to the round of 32, where they played the heavy underdog Fairleigh Dickinson, and they took care of business 78-70 against Fairleigh Dickinson. And may I just say that, it never hurts to get a little luck. And I think that FAU not having to play Purdue in the second round of the NCAA tournament was a little bit of luck, because FAU deserves it of how hard they've played and prepared all year. They beat Fairleigh Dickinson 78-70. They didn't have to play Purdue, so that really kind of, made it a little bit of it's nice to have the sunshine on you every now and then. Then they played in the next round in the Sweet 16. FAU went against Tennessee after Tennessee shockingly upset the 5th seed Duke. Duke was the slight favorite in that game against Tennessee, and many people were picking Duke to represent the East region in the Final Four. Well, Duke ended up losing to Tennessee, and FAU ended up being able to put the clamps on them in the second half and won the game 62-55 to move on to the Elite Eight. Then, in the Elite Eight, FAU played a hard-fought battle and was down in the first half to the Kansas State Wildcats. But it was a back-and-forth game, and FAU took the lead late, and they were able to finish the game strong, 79-76 against the Kansas State Wildcats, the 3 seed. So they've beaten along the way. FAU has beaten an 8 seed, a 16 seed, a 4 seed, and a 3 seed. So that's pretty good when you can say you beat the 8, the 4, and the 3 seed to get to the Final Four. That's a kind of tough road, but like I said, it never hurts to have a little luck to have to play Fairleigh Dickinson in the second round. So your representative for the East region is FAU, Florida Atlantic University, 2.5 miles from the beach. Basically, if you stand up on the top of if you get on the bleachers on the western side of FAU Stadium, looking out over Howard Schnellenberger Field, if you see that, you can look and see the beach if you're at the top of the stadium. So how cool is that? You're basically playing in paradise when you go to FAU. Now let's move over to the Midwest region and see how Miami worked their way to the Final Four. Miami is the 5th seed, and they were able to take care of Drake University as the 12 seed, 63-56. Moved on to play Indiana, and I'm going to keep it real with you guys. I picked Indiana to beat Miami, and Miami was able to handle Indiana 85-69 and not make it a contest, basically. Then Miami went up against the number 1 seed, Houston. And Houston really was looking strong before this. They took care of Auburn and Northern Kentucky and them. But they were able to beat Houston. 89-75. So if you look at that. And then against Texas, and I really wanted Xavier to get there when they played Texas. But against a 2 seed Texas, Miami was able to beat them 88-81 and basically was in control with about 10 minutes left in the second half. Miami was in control against Texas. So Miami moved to the Final Four. And if you want to look at this, Miami, save for their first game against Drake, against the weakest opponent, they've scored 85 points, 89 points, 88 points. And as a quick mental math, that's about 87.2 average points per game. Besides, if you take out that 63 points. So, Miami can score with the rest of them and probably beat the rest of them. So, Miami is in the Final Four in the Midwest region. Then let's go down to the West region and see how UConn made it to the Final Four. The first game they played was against Iona. And real quick, my son, he's 6. He thought it was Iowa, that I was mispronouncing Iona. But no, it's an actual school called Iona, and Rick Pitino is no longer the coach there. He actually took a job with St. Joseph's in Harlem, New York. So UConn beat Iona 87-63. Then they went up against St. Mary's in the second round, the 5th seed, St. Mary's, and UConn was able to take care of business 70-55. After that, UConn went on to play Arkansas, and I thought this was going to be the test, in my opinion. If UConn is for real, if they're having one of those special years, they'll beat Arkansas. And yeah, they beat Arkansas 88-65. Destroyed Arkansas. Then they went up against the 2 seed. UConn's the 4 seed. They went up against the 2 seed in West Region, or 3 seed in West Region in Gonzaga. And they made Gonzaga look like they didn't even belong in the same court and almost doubled them up. At one point, UConn was winning about 70-40, and they finished the game 82-54 and beat Gonzaga to punch their ticket to the Final Four. So we have our Final Four matchups. They begin April 1st on Saturday. The first game is at 6:09. The 6:09 p.m. on Saturday, April 1st, it will be FAU versus San Diego State. And then the second game will be around 8:30, 8:45, UConn versus University of Miami in Houston. They're all playing in Houston. It's in the Final Four is located in Houston. The national championship is scheduled for April 3rd on Monday, and I'm hoping personally for an FAU versus Miami, Hurricanes versus Owls, because it will be an all-South Florida national championship, and what better than that to represent South Florida, represent Palm Beach County and Miami-Dade County. That would be fun. So now, after talking about the Final Four, I'm going to make some picks later in the Final Four for the two semifinal games with my hashtag 5-pack of picks. I'm on fire lately. But right now, I just want to talk about NFL free agency and the news that came down through the wire today, and that is that Lamar Jackson, yes, the Ravens' former MVP quarterback, Lamar Jackson, has requested a trade. And I'll get into his quote in a moment, but I also want to say I'm kind of happy that this is happening to the Jets, but the Jets haven't signed Aaron Rodgers yet because they're at an impasse for picks. The Packers want multiple picks, multiple first-round picks, and a bevy of picks. But the Jets don't want to move up on move off their 13th pick overall to have Aaron Rodgers only for 17 games and basically have Aaron Rodgers on loan because he's 40 years old. He could retire any year. And so the Jets and the Rodgers deal is officially lollygagging. And I won't be here next week because I'm going to Colombia, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, Leo B. the Lion is going back to his country. My dad is from Colombia, so going back there to spend some time with family and do the touristy thing. So it'll be fun. But next time I come on the show, which will be in 2 weeks, I will get you the etymology of lollygagging, because I think that's such a funny word. It's like you're wasting time, but if you think of somebody like accidentally gagging on a lollipop, they didn't mean to do it, and they wasted their time. It didn't really waste that. So I'm going to find out the etymology for you guys, because that's something that really I just want to know. I think I'm a logophile in that regard. So, yeah, Aaron Rodgers is still officially not a Jet, but we're still going with that Aaron Rodgers will be a Jet. So, back to Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson is requesting a trade, or has requested a trade from the Baltimore Ravens. And he took to Twitter today to write a letter to the fans, to the front office, because apparently there's an impasse with the front office in Baltimore Ravens. And I just wanted to talk about it and read you his letter really quick. It's a short letter, so bear with me. A letter to my fans, and I quote Lamar Jackson. I want to first thank you all for the love and support you consistently show towards me. All of you are amazing, and I appreciate y'all so much. I want you all to know not to believe everything you read about me. Let me personally answer your questions in regards to my future plans. As of March 2nd, so today is March 27th, ladies and gentlemen. I just wanted to let you guys know that. Back to Lamar Jackson's quote. As of March 2nd, I requested a trade from the Ravens organization, for which the Ravens has not been interested in meeting my value. And any and everyone that has met me or been around me know I love the game of football, and my dream is to help a team win the Super Bowl. You were all great, but I had to make a business decision that was best for my family and I. No matter how far I go or where my career takes me, I'll continue to be close to my fans of Baltimore Flock Nation and the entire state of Maryland. You'll see me again. So I have some thoughts about that, because it's just egregiously, it's like so sad, and it's a travesty that a player who's won the MVP and is under 28 years old, his team doesn't want to, and he's a quarterback, arguably the most important position in sports, and some people would say it was the hockey goalie, but no, I say it's the quarterback. The Ravens don't want to sign him, and they don't want to give him the guaranteed money that he's looking for. Deshaun Watson, who is a 22-time accused sexual assault, or basically a 20-time allegedly a rapist, let's just say that, Deshaun Watson got $230 million guaranteed. Lamar Jackson was offered by the Ravens $133 million guaranteed for 3 years. And that's, not part of his full contract, but they said $133 million. And he said no, because I want to be here long term. 3 years isn't a good deal. $133 million, yeah, that's over $40 million a year. That's about 42, 43 something million dollars a year, 44. But it's not, he believes he should be paid $50 million a year. And players like Patrick Mahomes, we have that. But yeah, Patrick Mahomes has a Super Bowl, so I give, 2 Super Bowls, so I'll give him that. But for the Ravens not to sign him or actually give him a deal, and I think if I was the Ravens, I would be offering him at least like a 5-year deal, 210 guaranteed, and probably the total value of the contract $400 million. 5 years, $400 million. Hold on, I'm about to do the math. 5 divided by 40. I'm just trying to think how much that is a year. Where's my calculator at? 5. I mean, that's like 80 mil a year, but to have he would break the bank. But I think, okay, so let's talk about, let's say 6 years, 360 million. 6 years, 360, and have 210, I'll say 200 guaranteed, and front load the guaranteed. I think, Lamar Jackson would take that, but, I'm probably a bad negotiator in terms of the Ravens because they don't want to give that much money up. I put together some possible landing spots for the newly requested trade Lamar Jackson. Breaking news, Lamar Jackson has requested a trade, and he says he's requested it since March 2nd. But here are some possible landing spots that I think Lamar Jackson could go to. It's not the same as like Sports Illustrated or whatever. A couple might be the same, but I personally think that these first 5 landing spots, well, the 4 and then the 5, which is a wish list, I think this is where these would be good spots for Lamar Jackson to end up where he could get paid, and the teams really need a quarterback. So the first one is the Carolina Panthers. Yeah, the Carolina Panthers just gave up about 5 picks and DJ Moore for the number 1 overall pick from the Bears, but they're second in overall cap space with about over $30 million available this year, and they have the first overall pick. So they'd be able to do basically like a sign-in trade with the Ravens, and they need a quarterback. So the Panthers are a good look for Lamar Jackson, and before Lamar Jackson became available, so to speak, the Panthers were expected to draft C.J. Stroud. They brought 8 members from the front office to look at C.J. Stroud's pro day at Ohio State. But I really think that the Panthers could be a good landing spot, my number 1 spot for Lamar Jackson that I thought of. The second spot that I think that Lamar Jackson would be a good fit, where they kind of need a quarterback. They had the number 1 offense last year, but they also had the worst defense, and they've been bolstering defense. And they have the 3rd most cap space in the NFL for the 2023 season, and that is the Detroit Lions. I think if Lamar Jackson got traded to the Lions, I think it would be also another reason why the Panthers and Lions would be good, because if you gave up multiple picks as the Lions, yeah, you knew that you would be able to mortgage your franchise's future on Lamar Jackson, but you would be getting Lamar Jackson, and the Ravens might see that, okay, we're getting a pick from the Lions. If we don't believe in Lamar Jackson, those picks might be good in the future, so those picks are worth more. So I think it would be a win-win for both the Lions and Lamar Jackson and the Ravens if Lamar Jackson went to the Lions. They have the 3rd most cap space, like I said. They'd be able to make deals. They've been busy this offseason free agency so far. They're prepping for the draft. But now that this news came about, it'll be interesting to see if Lamar Jackson does get moved. Now, next, let's go to the New York Jets, the 3rd team that I think it would be a good landing spot for Lamar Jackson. I'm keeping my heart out of it, ladies and gentlemen, because here on the Leo Be the Lion show, this is a Miami Dolphins show. We don't take any Dolphin slander on this show. But I got to be real, and if the Jets don't get Aaron Rodgers, they should go after Lamar Jackson. And I say this because maybe if they went after a younger, healthier quarterback in Lamar Jackson, a more quarterback that's just entering his prime in Lamar Jackson, they'd be more willing to give up multiple picks instead of not willing to give up multiple picks for Aaron Rodgers. I also think that the Jets don't have as much cap space. I mean, I know that the Jets don't have as much cap space as the Panthers and Lions. They're about 8th or 9th in cap space, but they're only about $10 million. But the Jets desperately need a quarterback. That right now they have Zach Wilson at quarterback, and they don't know what Aaron Rodgers is going to do. They don't know what the Packers will agree to at this point because the Packers have all the leverage. Or actually, excuse me, the Jets have the leverage, but the Packers don't have to move Aaron Rodgers until they face, after June 1st, they'll face a $30 million cap hit, a dead cap hit. So the time is ticking. The Jets need a quarterback. And I really think Lamar Jackson, and believe that Lamar Jackson would excel in any team, but the Jets have a great roster right now around the quarterback position, and they are kind of just missing a quarterback. So I think Lamar Jackson would be a good fit in New York for the Jets. The fourth team that I have, which would be a good fit for Lamar Jackson, but I don't think you would want to go there just because their franchise is kind of like, but they did just sign DeMeco Ryans as a head coach, and that is the Houston Texans. I think the Houston Texans would be able to give up a lot of picks. They would have picks similar to the Jets and the Lions and the Panthers, where you're always picking at the top third of the draft. And I think that would be more attractive to the Ravens as a trade partner. The Texans have the fourth most cap space in the league. And they've been busy in free agency. They've signed a few players. They've let a few players go. But Davis Mills is not cutting it. And their backups are not cutting it. So the Texans need a quarterback. So that would be a good fit for Lamar Jackson. The fifth team that I have that I think would be a great fit for Lamar Jackson is the Miami Dolphins. Miami Dolphins. Miami Dolphins. So I wish. This is like a wish list. If we could somehow get Lamar Jackson, but I know it wouldn't be possible. We'd have to get rid of a lot of pieces, and as well as those pieces that we think makes us Super Bowl contenders, and we don't have a lot of draft picks and not a lot of cap space. So technically it's not realistic to get Lamar Jackson on a trade. I just added a sixth team in there because I thought it was interesting that I read on Sports Illustrated that the Patriots are interested or could be interested in Lamar Jackson. Meek Mill was talking to Robert Kraft, because Meek Mill and Robert Kraft have a good relationship. And Robert Kraft said it's up to Belichick if the Patriots want to go after Lamar Jackson. And may I just say, I would hate that if he went to the Patriots, because the Patriots would be instantly Super Bowl contenders, dangerous team, and I would hate them to go up against twice. Could you imagine if the Patriots got Lamar Jackson and then the Jets got Aaron Rodgers? It would be Tua, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, and Aaron Rodgers. It would be the all-time best quarterback division that there's ever been, probably, arguably the best. So I think those six teams would be good landing spots for Lamar Jackson. The Panthers, because they have the cap space and they're bad. They need a quarterback. The Lions, the third most cap space. Then the Jets. They need a quarterback if they don't get Aaron Rodgers. The Texans, because they're just the Texans. And the Dolphins, that was my wish list. And hell no to the Patriots to get Lamar Jackson. So please no. Now let me talk about my 5-pack of picks. I came into the week last week at 55, 42, and 2. 13 games over 500. And let me just say, ladies and gentlemen, the hot streak has continued. I'll go through my picks made last week. So I had the Warriors, and these were all on March 22nd. Happy belated. I know I said happy birthday to him, but happy belated to my Uncle Javier. March 22nd, these games were played. So the Warriors versus the Mavericks. The Warriors won. I picked the Mavericks, but I found out last minute after I picked the Mavericks that Kyrie Irving wasn't playing because of an injury. And so 0-1 on my 5-pack picks. Then I had the Nuggets at the Wizards, Nuggets on the road, and the Nuggets took care of business easily. And that's 1-1 on my hashtag 5-pack of picks. The Wizards are bad this year. They're rebuilding. They're like the 12th seed in the East. And the Wizards the Nuggets are the class of the West with the MVP candidate in Jokic, who's basically averaging a triple-double, which is insane as a center. Then the Suns at the Lakers. The Lakers won the game. I picked the Lakers, and this made me think of KD being out against, and so I was like, okay, the Lakers can get in, and the Lakers are basically trying to solidify their spot in the play-in tournament, possibly with about 8 or 9 games left to go. They could make a run at getting that 6th seed because the 6th seed right now is the Warriors at 39 and 37, and the Lakers right now are 38 and 39, I believe. So that brought me to 2-1 on my hashtag 5-pack of picks. Then I picked the Hawks at the Timbies. I picked the Timbies to take care of business. Timberwolves are a better team than the Hawks, and the Hawks were on the road, and the Hawks are basically a perennial 500 team. So the Timbies took the win. That brought me to 3-1 on my hashtag 5-pack of picks. Then for my 5th pick, which I felt the strongest about, the Spurs at the Bucks. The Bucks beat up on the Spurs 129-100, and I personally still think Giannis should be the candidate for MVP. He or Embiid should win it this year because they play more defense. And to be an MVP, you could be Offensive Player of the Year, scoring champ, whatever, but to be MVP, you got to play both sides of the basketball court. That's how I just feel. And the Bucks have a squad, so they'll probably get to the finals this year. Now, that brings my record to 59. I went 4-1 last week. That brought my record to 59, 43, and 2, which is 16 games over 500. And this week, I'll be making the 2 semifinal Final Four picks and the 2 and 3 NBA games. Now, I just want to remind you, you're listening to the Leo B. the Lion Show. That is the Leo B. the Lion Show at Respectable Street, recording live every Monday from 6 to 7 p.m. And you can catch my videos after they're recorded on YouTube at Leo B. the Lion Show on my channel. I would appreciate if you could subscribe, like my videos, or share them, and comment on them if you disagree or agree, or you just want to give me some kudos, or you think that I suck. I'm happy to hear it. Also, I post the videos probably on Tuesday or Wednesday. It depends on where I am that week. And I make 5-pack of picks, and I put the timestamps on the videos. So if you really are interested in my picks, or you're interested in what's happening in South Florida, or what have you, I put what I talk about on there. And go ahead and give it a watch, too, once they're up on YouTube at Leo B. the Lion Show. And you can follow me on IG at Leo B. the Lion Show as well. I appreciate it, and I follow back. So let's pick these 5 games, this new set of hashtag 5-pack of picks. So April 1st, 6:09 p.m., number 9 FAU takes on number 5 San Diego State University. And I'm taking FAU for a few reasons. One, because they're the hometown team. Go Owls, Palm Beach County's D1 team, D1 school, go Owls. Florida Atlantic University, baby, out of Boca Raton. Traffic sucks in Boca Raton, but that's neither here nor there. Then, another reason why I want FAU to win is that they're so underrated. They went 31 and 3 during the regular season. And the selection committee, they won the Conference USA tournament in the postseason. And the selection committee still picked them as a 9 seed. So I just think for them to be so underrated, and I went through their path to the Final Four, but for them to be so underrated, I think it's like a kind of like, ha, told you so, like you shouldn't have tried us. And now we're in the Final Four and they're on a run. If FAU wins on Saturday night, they'll advance to a national championship. And as far as I know, it'll be their first national championship appearance in any sport. And I think that is awesome for the program, awesome for the school, and awesome for everybody involved with the FAU program. It's awesome to see how far FAU has come. I went to grad school there, so I'm proud of FAU, proud to be a FAU Owl. And back in the day, people used to call FAU Find Another University. So it's come a long way since that to see FAU possibly make it a chance to the national championship game let alone making it to the Final Four. Major kudos to FAU. So I pick FAU to win and beat San Diego State. San Diego State's defense has been their star of the show. When teams average about 80 points, San Diego State's holding them to about 50-something points a game. So it's just interesting to see who's going to win in that regard, if John L. Davis and them out of FAU can take care of business. The next game on my hashtag 5-pack of picks is the second semifinal that's happening April 1st. That's 8:49 p.m. It is number 5, University of Miami Hurricanes versus the number 4, UConn Huskies. And I want Miami to win just because it'll have the closest national championship team between two schools ever. It's 60 miles. And the next closest, like I said, is about 100 miles that's played before. I'm picking UConn. I hate to do that, but I'm not a Hurricane fan. I'll talk about them, South Florida flavor, I'll talk about them. But I'm not a Hurricane fan, and I'm picking UConn to beat the Miami Hurricanes because it just feels like one of those UConn years. UConn to me has been like the Spurs in those years where you're like, dang, who won the national championship that year? It's UConn. In the same way in the NBA, you'll be like, who won the NBA Finals in 2003 or 1990 or 2004 or 1999 or whatever, those off years. It's the Spurs. So I feel like this is one of those UConn years that they're just going to go in and win and take care of business, similar to 99, similar to 04, 11, and 2014. UConn is the highest remaining seed, and they don't have any pressure on them. Dan Hurley is their coach. They don't have any pressure because they have nobody remaining from 2014, so they are feeling good. So give me UConn to beat the Hurricanes and set up a FAU versus UConn, an Owl versus Husky matchup. I think it would be great to see. I don't have a pick for you because, I'm not trying to speculate who's going to win. I'd rather just find out, and then I'll pick. Now, the third pick in my hashtag 5-pack of picks is the Mavs at the Sixers, switching to the NBA on the 29th of March. Sixers are 3 seeds right now in the East, and the Mavericks are out of the play-in tournament. In a week, they've lost 3 straight games, and they've fallen out of the play-in tournament, and the Mavs are 3-9 when Kyrie and Luka both play. So that is scary to think about, that they're not gelling, and there's starting to be problems in Dallas. So give me the Sixers to go on the road, or to be at home with MVP candidate Joel Embiid, and give me the Sixers to win that. Then the Heat versus the New York Knicks. They're both fighting for playoff position. They're close. They're 5 and 6 seed. It's an old rivalry, but I'll take the Heat to win on the road because I don't trust the Knicks yet. Then for my 5th pick is the Lakers at the Bulls. LeBron is hoping to be back soon. Doctors have said they've never seen anybody with a healing power as LeBron James, blah, blah, blah. But he's hoping to be back soon, and the Lakers are currently within 2 games of missing the play-in, but they're currently the number 9 seed. Like I said, they're 38 and 39, but they're the 9th seed, and so they're close to missing out, but also close to the Warriors to taking the 6th seed. I'll take the Lakers, though, because although the Bulls have been good this year, and they have a few wing players in Zach LaVine and them, and they just got Patrick Beverly, give me the Lakers to win because AD is going to carry them to victory. So my hashtag 5-pack of picks this week: FAU to take care of business against San Diego State, UConn to beat the University of Miami Hurricanes, the Sixers to beat the Mavs on Wednesday, the Heat to beat the New York Knicks on Wednesday night, and the Lakers to beat the Chicago Bulls in Chicago. And let me just really quick give you a quick update. Something I really want to mention, that it's even cooler, that not only is FAU and the University of Miami have the opportunity to win the national championship, Nova Southeastern University plays D2 basketball, Division II basketball, and they just won the national championship. So we could have at least 2 national champions from South Florida in men's basketball by next week. Once again, this has been the Leo B. the Lion Show, coming to you live from Respectable Street. You can listen live to me on subcultureradio.com, and I come to you every Monday from 6 to 7 p.m. at Respectable Street here on Clematis in West Palm Beach, Florida. You can follow me on IG and YouTube at Leo B. the Lion Show. And let's go Owls, let's go Huskies, and hopefully they'll make it to the Final Four. And by the time I come on, I won't be. I'll be in Colombia. So good luck to the teams. And I wish I could give you a prediction, but if the Owls make it, they're winning the national championship. Put it that way. I guarantee it. This is Leo B. the Lion Show. And see you next time, guys. Signing out.